welcome to all of you, and thank you for your interest in the work of the IOC Executive Board. The board members are very happy to be here in India, and I think also you are enjoying the same warm hospitality by our Indian hosts, and there I would like in particular to thank the IOC member in India, Mrs. Nita Ambani, and her team for doing a fantastic job preparing this session and offering such a great hospitality. We are already looking forward to the opening ceremony tomorrow night, which will give evidence once more that the Olympic spirit in India is growing. We saw the great performance of the team India at the Asian Games with a record number of medals. We can see it on our Olympic social media handles, where the India is the #2 when it comes to followers. And this shows the great interest in particular of the young generations of India in the Olympic movement, in the Olympic athletes and in the Olympic Games. This growing spirit I could also experience when I visited with Nita Ambani the Academy of the Reliance Foundation, which she chairs, where you could see what is being done for millions of kids here in India, and in particular kids from underprivileged families, to give them access to sport, to give them also access with the new programs we have been starting here in India with Nita Ambani and her foundation, and with Abhinav Bindra, our Athletes Commission member, and his foundation, to access to the Olympic Values Education program. There we have a potential to reach here in Maharashtra alone 27 million children, and in Odisha, where the Abhinav Bindra Foundation is already active, the potential is 7 million children, and this is, I think, quite an achievement, and I must say I'm really deeply impressed by these efforts. With regard to the decisions and works of the IOC Executive Board, allow me just to give some examples, because we had so many really far-reaching and important topics. The first one is about safeguarding, which is one of our most important challenges, because safeguarding is about the future of sport. If we cannot offer the children a safe environment to play sports, the parents will not send them anymore to sports. It is so easy. And therefore the IOC has taken safeguarding as a special focus on their work in the follow-up of Olympic Agenda 2020+5. We have allocated there a special fund of $10 million per Olympiad, means every 4 years. And we have taken up the request of the international federations to take the lead on addressing this critical challenge. This has been in the hand of a safeguarding working group chaired by the IOC Executive Board member Prince Faisal, and supported by our administration, by Mrs. Kirsty Burrows and her team, who is with us here on this podium. Recognizing the fact that with these safeguarding efforts, we have to get as close as possible to the affected people. The working group chose a bottom-up approach and recommended the establishment of regional safeguarding hubs. There the IOC Executive Board approved as a kind of pilot projects 2 regional safeguarding hubs in Southern Africa and the Pacific Islands, and to support the initial work for a European safeguarding hub. These hubs will provide the athletes with independent guidance, psychosocial support, legal aid, and any other help that they may need, and they will do so through existing services available locally in the athlete's own language, within an understanding of their culture and the local context. The establishment of these pilot hubs will be overseen by an international safe sport task force that will include representatives from sport, intergovernmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, civil society, and of course athletes. We got an update from the future host commission for the Olympic Games because we asked the future host commission for the Winter Games to evaluate the future allocation of Winter Games following 2 main criteria. The one that for sustainability reasons, a future Olympic Winter Games host should have a target of using only existing or temporary venues. Second, proposed snow competition venues should be climate reliable until at least mid of this century. Following these 2 criteria, there were 2 studies commissioned by the Commission. One, to identify the national Olympic committees with the most existing IF homologated venues, and another study to check if these existing IF homologated venues would be climate reliable until at least the middle of this century. Today, the future host commission for the Olympic Winter Games presented the first results of these studies. There are 15 national Olympic committees on 3 continents that have at least 80% of existing venues, which means that they have at least 9 out of the 11 required venues for snow sports. 10 out of these 15 have either recently hosted the Games or are interested to host the Games in the future. By 2040, so for Olympic, in Olympic terms tomorrow, 2 of these 15 NOCs will no longer have the necessary reliability for the Olympic Winter Games held in February, and 5 even for the Paralympic Games held in March. That means that by 2040 there remain practically just 10 national Olympic committees who could host these snow events of Olympic Winter Games.